All right, good morning, everybody. And we just want to touch base after we finish the Oracle training. And we just want to see where each person, where we are. But I want to point out a few very important things that are coming up these days on some of the interviews that you will be attending. Usually there are a variety of ways that this question may be asked. But uh, one that is often repeated is a report was running for 5 minutes and now it's running for 30 minutes. What would you do about it as the database administrator? The users reported that, look, this thing is taking too long. It used to run for 5 minutes, now it's running for 30 minutes. My approach to something like that is because users don't sometimes know what they are talking about. I want to find out, is this a one-off thing? Is it just happening once, or is it beginning to be that like that? If it's a recurring thing, then I want to look at it. Now, of course, uh, you know, just because a user says something doesn't mean that you got a job, a ticket to work with right away. You want to find out what's going on. Have you noticed that doctors, even when you go there, you have malaria, they still start you with something small and little. Then you go and take aspirin or one of those until they see that this is serious, you know. So the first thing I would say, well, I will take a look at my alert log and see if anything sticks out in my alert log. Your challenge right now this morning is, how do I find my alert log? Where's my alert log? And I want you to use the Unix command without going into Oracle to find your alert log, to get to your alert log. Well, not necessarily without going into Oracle, because I will show you a performance view that has where your alert log is. On Oracle, starting from Oracle 11G, your alert log can be stored with simple text file, or it can be stored as an XML. Oracle puts both in two different folders. So you have to know how to find both of them. Your alert log can also be viewed with a utility called ADRCI. So in this class, we're not going to look for alert log using Enterprise Manager. We're going to use ADRCI and Unix. Enterprise Manager is easy. It's a matter of click, click, click there. After looking at my alert log for anything that sticks out, of course, a long-running report will not show up in my alert log. But as a DB, I'm trying to look at, what's going on with my database generally. If there's anything I need to be informed of, which may be the root cause. Which may be the root cause. I will also look at my ADDM report for that period. Say the report was run at 5:30. Usually, Oracle ADDM report will run every 1 hour. That's the standard. It can be changed. So there was an ADDM report that compared 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, which falls within that time range that the report ran, to see if anything sticks out in ADDM report. A more robust report is AWR report. Remember, every 1 hour, of course, that can be changed too. AWR data is collected, statistics and all kinds of vital things in your database collected and stored in AWR, automatic workload repository. And based on that, ADDM then runs every 1 hour to analyze the previous snapshot and this snapshot. But AWR report can span multiple snapshots. So you're looking at the general performance of your database. AWR report is very comprehensive, and everyone in this class must know how to produce AWR report on command line. And on both command line and Enterprise Manager. What could make a query run faster or not fast? They work like that. So the execution plan, let's say that we are going to Alaska from Atlanta. There are many options. We can go by train, by bus, by flight. Even by flight, there are many routes to Atlanta. The flight can take you from Atlanta to Dallas, and then Dallas to Michigan, and then Michigan to Alaska. Somebody else can go from Atlanta to New York, from New York to whatever, to Canada, and then to Alaska. So there are many routes. So the question is that, how is Oracle going to execute this statement, this query? How is Oracle going to execute it? What route will it take? Because believe it or not, each route you take to Alaska, one is costlier than the other in terms of time, in terms of money, and so on. So it is with queries that each route you go through, one is costlier than another. And we are looking for the least expensive, route. From an end user point of view, the fastest route is what we are looking for. So what constitutes the fastest route is based on how much data do you have to look at. So when Chris wants to buy his ticket to Alaska, he goes to Google to see, okay, what is this distance between Atlanta and Alaska? He knows that because that data is available. He says, okay, what is the weather like, in New York? If I want to say, oh, there's a storm in New York. So he already knows that. So he's going to avoid New York, So all that data must be available for him to take that decision. The optimizer statistics, these are statistics Oracle collects constantly on all objects. This data is used for the execution plan. Because if you say, select star from employees, and there are no records in the employees table as far as the statistics is concerned, what's the point of Oracle going to the table to be trying to select? There's no record there. So you already know there's no record. It returns to you 0 records without going to the table. So how much data is available to you will inform what route you take. So the fact that we have data, statistics collected periodically helps a lot in the execution plan. Now, we can find out how will Oracle do it by running what is called explain plan. In an explain plan, the SQL statement is not run. But Oracle just says, you know what, here's how I'm going to do it, here's how I'm going to do it, here's how I'm going to do it. So that, and then you put the cost there for you to know how costly each approach was. The other tool that we can use to find out the execution plan is SQL trace, to track the SQL while it is running. The SQL is already, in explain plan, the SQL is not running. We're just saying to Chris, tell us how you're going to get to Alaska. And without him leaving the seat, he tells us his plan. But in SQL trace, we are tracking an actual running SQL. And now, I want to throw this in. This is not part of answering the question. Soft pass and hard pass. When you run a SQL statement, you need to understand the steps Oracle goes through to process the SQL statement. The first, Oracle checks for syntactic error. Is there a syntax error? What's the point going to this to be selecting something if your select statement is completely wrong? You set employee underscore X instead of employee underscore ID. Whereas employee underscore X is not on the table. Why are we running it? So first, it looks for syntactic error. The next step, it looks for, if you like, semantic error. So first, it looks for syntax. The next one, it looks for what I would call like semantic error. Like, for instance, does the table even exist? Do the fields even exist? Then, the next thing is very important. It looks in the large pool of the SGA if this query has been run before. If this query has been run before, the data will be in your SGA. Or Oracle already knows the execution plan of this query. I mean, Chris has been to Alaska 4 times before. The next time he wants to go to Alaska, he don't even bother to do any research. He already knows, how to go to Alaska. This is called a soft pass. Soft pass. If Oracle discover this query doesn't exist, this is new, then now Oracle has to develop an execution plan. When Oracle starts developing an execution plan, now we are in a hard pass. This is not really directly related to the answer to this question, but I just thought I'd throw that in. Soft pass and a hard pass. In hard pass, Oracle starts developing the execution plan. In a soft pass, the execution plan already exists. So there's no point doing that. Any query that runs and only a soft pass takes place to be faster. Because the execution plan has been developed already. There's enough information in your SGA for it to go with. All right, finally. Why are we doing the execution plan? Why are we checking explain plan? Because we are looking at, could we use an index? Did Oracle use an index in trying to do this thing? What kind of scanning of the table took place? Was there a full scan of the entire 1 billion records? Because you ran a query and it's scanning 1 billion records in the table. Of course, it's going to take a long time. Is the field that is used in your where clause, does it have an index associated with it? Because an index will help it. So in other words, is there an index scan or a full table scan? You always want to avoid a full table scan as much as you can. Because a full, or do we have an index range scan? These are some of the options that we have. So I can do one thing. I can create index or indices to facilitate the search. Or should I actually be using a materialized view instead of the table itself? You heard? What does a materialized view do? A view does not hold data, agree? A materialized view holds data. A materialized view can be scheduled to run and it captures the data needed. Then my report down runs on that data. See that? So if normally it would take a long time for that information to be gathered from this table, say all these tables have 1 billion records, then I can schedule a materialized view to run when I'm not running that report on its own and grab the actual data that will be used for my report, then my report runs off of that data. But remember, a materialized view grabs the data at a time. So if you need real-time report, your report will not be as at real time. You follow? If I want to know customer balances at 6 p.m. every day, I don't have to run a report directly at 6 p.m. I can run a materialized view that pulls that data and holds it, and then my report now come and run on that data. So the time spent pulling it has been spent doing the materialized view. My report just sees the finished data. So here are the steps of improving my query. Maybe I should have used a view, or a materialized view. Do I need an index? Now, or do we need to rewrite this query completely? Maybe it was poorly written. You follow? It was poorly written. All this is called performance tuning. The ability to tune this query and improve its performance. So there are two aspects. One, we are looking at the table, view, whatever it is accessing to improve on it. Two, we are looking at the statement itself. Can we improve on the statement? By moving this and to where the where clause and moving the where clause away, can it improve things? Because if Ola wrote a query that says where gender is equal to M and state is equal to Georgia and country is equal to USA. Of course, the first where clause, gender is equal to F, will take F for the whole world. And then come and narrow it to Georgia. Why are we approaching that? Why don't we say country is equal to USA? The whole world has been cut off. A smaller pool of data we are dealing with now. See that? So just by rearranging it, see that? So it could mean redesigning the query because it was poorly written. I mean, if he says where name is equal to Smith and country is equal to USA, do you know how many Smiths are in the world? So it's going to be looking at the table, looking for all this. Why don't we say country is equal to USA first before we look for Smith? Okay, so now these two things I have mentioned, Oracle now has a solution for it. It's called SQL Tuning Advisor that looks at the statement to see if it can be tuned better, and then SQL Access Advisor that looks at what is being accessed, table, view, whatever, to see, do we need an index? Should we be doing materialized view and so on. Any question?
Oh, yes. We have to go through all of this to answer just one question. The whole do it for
no. I'm just trying to give you the whole robust.
See, I think if we have to pick one or two, which would you advise?
So if you ask me, let me cut you.
Okay.
If questions like this are asked, except they cut you go to town with it because this is where you have.
This is exactly.
This is where you have your strength.
Yes.
Because you don't know whether you will know the next question.
Exactly.
This one that you know,
yeah.
go to town until they cut you. Just
I was going to say, okay, please, let's move on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because here you are giving them a lecture. You are dropping the thing on the table. They're like, oh, this week. You know. so I will go to town with it.
So my own question now, sir, is if this kind of thing pops up, of course.
Not if, it will.
Okay. In the event that it comes up,
yes.
I don't want to go to AWR report unless I want to make my response more robust. So AGDM advises based on what is in the AWR repository data. Yeah. Now, so it's when I go to AWR report is when I don't have sufficient reports. Information. That's when I go to
a more robust report. But I will mention it. Remember, in interview, you are advertising yourself. So whatever makes you look better, I will mention it. Now, so right now, in the next 20 minutes, find using Unix your alert log. Find using ADRCI your alert log. Lab 6 uses ADRCI to find your alert log.
Lab 6?
Lab 6.
Yes.
Using Unix, Google it.
Let's say I usually do that one.
Take a look at ADDM report using Enterprise Manager. So here are your assignments. Look for your alert log using ADRCI. Look for your alert log using Unix command. Produce ADDM report using Enterprise Manager. Produce AWR report using command line. And then I will come and do explain plan. Everybody got that?
Uncle, do you mind typing it out?
Please repeat. You say louder. Repeat the question again.
You mind typing it out?
Oh, the voice is very low.
You mind typing it out? Real
Oh,
quick,
I should type out what you
if you
guys
went
need to do. Okay.
through really
All right.
quickly.
So your assignment is to find your alert log. And then your assignment is here is to produce ADDM report using OEM. Produce AWR report using SQL Plus. All right, let's very quickly, let me find my alert log. I'm going to find my alert log very quickly. My alert log is in a performance view called VDollar info, diagnostic info. SQL Plus, just to let you know that inside Oracle there is a data dictionary that has it. That has the location of it. I know where it is, but I want to show you just in case. Describe VDollar info, diagnostic info. It says instance ID, name, value. Select name, value from VDollar diag underscore info. My output is running a while. I want to format it a little bit. Set line size 132. I'm going to increase my line size right there. It's not helping me. I can then do this. Right trim the name, so I don't want it displaying all that space. And then right trim, what was the other field? Value from VDollar diag info. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to be dressing things. I can actually make this thing so formatted with SQL using column definitions, but I don't have time for that. Let's just go and call our good friend Code. I can actually show you that output here, but it's all jumbled up. Let's call our good friend Toad here. I'm going to log in as the CZDM. Select star that from diagonal. There it is. There it is. Here are all your diagnostic things in Oracle. It tells you your ADR base, your ADR home, your trace files are here, your alert logs are here, your incidents are here, your core dump, health monitor, trace files are here. So if I generated a trace file and I have no clue where it went, I can come to this. And now, there are two versions of your alert log. There is the XML version and there is the text version. What I found out in 11G, that the text version of your alert log is in the trace folder, and it is the XML version that is in the alert folder. See that? So, for instance, if I were to copy this and go to that folder right there, chain direct exit, change directory to that folder. What is that folder? Oracle-based diagnostic RDBMS seed. See that? Seed trace. You'll be surprised how many DBA know that by heart. They don't even need to think. They don't even need to go to that diag like when to copy. Oracle-based diag RDBMS seed trace.
This is your DB name.
DB name, usually. All right, so here are all my trace files. My alert log is somewhere here. I want to do a directory. ls, I want anything that has the word alert. I don't care what the beginning is. I don't care what the end is. You should have the word alert. There it is. Alert seed.log. See that? Alert underscore seed.log. Now, let me find out how large is this file. ls. This is a huge file right there. Agreed? And if I cut it, it will just be going. But in my alert log,
Like the one was sleeping there, it hasn't stopped.
somebody's cutting it. So it contains my alert log for a very long time. Now, people, in every database site, there is the administration of alert log. Because it will just be growing. How do we deal with it? What do we just let it balloon? No. There will be a scheduled job that rotates alert log, that purges it after some time. Maybe I decide that alert log of 6 months ago is not too important to me. It all depends on the site. They may feel that it's important to them. They may be copying it and keeping it somewhere. On this server, I have a job that purges my alert log every 90 days. Some company may feel like they want to leave theirs for 3 years. Remember, they have the disk space. Or they may create a job that takes a copy of the last 30 days and keeps somewhere else for, backward reference. So this alert log is huge. If I cut it, it will be running. But what am I most interested in? I'm interested in recent happening, recent events. As recent, okay, let me look at the last 100 lines, the last 50 lines. Show me the tail end, the last 50 lines of this file. Tail end, I don't want the beginning, I want the tail end. There we go. So my alert log says, see what it's on my alert log, and it has date. This is at 11 o'clock, this is at 2 o'clock, and then setting resource manager schedule, starting background process, stuff that is going on. Begin SQL tuning task at 6 o'clock, and so on and so forth. Archive log entry has been made at this time, current log. So every time there's a log switch, you know what's going on here. Okay? Okay? Okay, and so on and so forth. If I wanted to search my entire alert log for any Oracle error, then I could do this. Grep Aura. Every Oracle error starts with Aura dash. Look in the entire alert log. for Aura. But remember, Control C will kill it though. Control C. Remember, it's looking from like 3 years ago, whatever. Suppose I don't want to do that, so I can say, um, um, I can say, okay, till my alert log, the last 100 lines. When you finish tailing it, don't display it for me. Send it to grep. Let grep look for aura dash. There was none. The last 100 lines. Let me increase it. See, the last 200 lines. There was none. The last 500 lines. There was none. You see that this is what is looking for aura dash. And this was just a warning that my FRA is 100% used. That error was dealt with. So I don't need to deal with it anymore. I can actually write a unit script that extracts only the lines for today, or in the lines in the last 15 minutes. In my last job, I wrote a unit script that looks at my last log for every 15 minutes to look for anything that sticks out. Because I don't want to be coming to look at my alert log when a script can be telling me something happened. All right, so that's my alert log. It's in Oracle based DAG, RDMS, database name, seed trace. So this is the text version of my alert log. So all my diagnostic things are in here. So if I go to the alert folder, ls, the XML version is here. The XML version of my alert log is here. It's also growing. There should be a way to purge it. So ADLCI has a way of purging it. ADLCI is very comprehensive. Now, if I wanted, okay, in your lab 6, you already have a way of seeing your. All right, so that's how to find your alert log using the Unix and using ADLCI. Using ADLCI, you have it in your lab 6. In your lab 6. Now, let me. You know how to produce your ADDM, everybody, you've done that using Enterprise Manager. Let me show you a cool video to produce your AWR report on the command line. It's on YouTube. People, everything is on YouTube. How to make a goosey is on YouTube.
Chris,
What about say
everything
Everything's on YouTube.
I'm looking for a say word.
Tell them how your Igbo wife made a pussy on
You
YouTube.
cannot make up for YouTube. That would be very hard.
Or if I could for YouTube.
Hopefully, I will hit on that particular one, AWR generation. Okay, I hope this is the one.
I think that's it.
Getting AWR report from SQL Plus. This one is not talking.
Yeah, this guy is not talking.
But
But the first one is talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will look at AWR report generation. AWR is the automatic workload repository which collects information about activity in the database, the volume of.
All right, so you will take a look at YouTube. Now I'm showing you that you can Google, you can YouTube, because now you know what you're looking for.
Uncle,
Yes.
I actually got an error running that
Error is good. When you follow this video,
Yes.
okay, we can discuss that one off camera. Next, I want to talk about explain plan. This is really not what I planned to do today, but I just felt like this is beginning to reoccur a lot in interview. So I need to set you on track to go do a lot of learning and update your vocabulary on how to talk about these things. Okay? You can see Stephen has done some background runnings on this. So we have a SQL statement. So we have a SQL statement, and this is the SQL statement. These tables are in Scott schema. Scott dot Scott dot. So we run this query. We want to find out the cost of this query. If Oracle were to explain to us the execution plan. So we will do explain plan for that. So here's what you do. For the explain plan right there. Explain for me how you're going to run this query. You run everything together. Notice there's no output. It says it has been explained. Look at that code says I've explained it. Where do I go and see the result? There is a table called DBMS explain, display the explain plan. So I do select, and I tell it display what was explained. I run that. Here is the explain plan. You start analyzing explain plan from the last line up. The total cost of this query, one second. Let me run this as a script. Okay, that's better. The total cost of this query is that. This is not a huge query. The total cost is on the first line. But how many records did it have to go through at each stage? Remember how I said that if you filter first by country before state, that it will reduce the number of records it has to go through. Table access by index row ID department. It says that the department table, it was able to use the row ID to know exactly where that data was. What is row ID? Row ID is the pseudo column attached to every record. Agree? Every record has a row ID. Inside that row ID is the exact location where it is. So Oracle used unique index scan. What is unique index? It means that there was an index attached to that table. Oracle used it, and it was a unique index in the sense that if there were 1 billion records, once I hit on the one I'm looking for, I didn't have to go continue. If it was the 100th, that was what I was looking for, I didn't have to scan the entire table for 1 billion. See that? So that is good because now we don't have to do a scan of the entire 1 billion. So I use a unique scan, a unique index scan. I use this index. So this is how you know which index Oracle used. Was there an index associated with that field? And these were the number of records that it processed. and this was the cost at this stage. But once I used the index, oh, the cost dropped to 0 here. Okay. The emp table, I did a table access full scan of the emp table. Look at the cost. Look at the cost. It jumped up. And look at how many records it has to process. If this query was taking forever, immediately I've seen a candidate to improve. I could create an index on the field used in the emp table. See that? To speed up things, because he did a full table scan and so on and so forth. Now, and then of course, this cost is also associated with the CPU time it took it to crunch all that. And because it's a small query, you don't really see time here. Otherwise, it will tell you time. So this is what an explain plan.
Sorry, so I think the first table,
Mhm.
before you change it to script, showed the time. Like
Yeah, it does.
1:00.
It does. Look at it.
Yeah,
It does. It's just wrapping around. It does. But it's insignificant. All right. So basically, this is what an explain plan look like. Now, when you are interviewed, it doesn't mean you stop learning. I'm still learning. You keep learning. This is what I want you to dwell on. Find out how to produce an explain plan, SQL trace, how to interpret these things, Google, read YouTube, all kinds, So basically, that's that I wanted to quickly show you guys. Any questions so far?